If you want to, do you have any kind of secretary report? Is it just the minutes? I think everyone should receive their minutes.
You're on mute, Shelly.
I'm sorry. I'm still on my first cup of coffee here, so I apologize. But there are draft minutes in the, and I just don't have my packet up on it yet, so. Okay, so the minutes are from the February 21st meeting.
Really?
Yeah, if I'm looking, maybe I'm on the wrong agenda.
We've had meetings since then. We should have approved those minutes.
You did send them, Shelly. They're from Thursday, May 21st.
Yeah, May 21st, yes.
So
that's what she meant.
Yes, what date did I say?
February.
Oh my goodness, well, I meant May. So. Good morning.
Good morning. So do we have a motion to approve the May 21st minutes?
So moved.
A second?
Oh.
It was a second. Who was our second? Was that you, Liz?
Yes, it was.
Hey, Liz. Good morning.
Morning.
Great. So, great. So the minutes are approved, and we can move.
Well, we got to vote, don't we?
Oh, all in favor?
All right.
All right. This is going to be a fun meeting.
Maybe we should just start over.
There we go. I'm ready now.
All right. Okay. So now we're clear. Moving on to our staff report.
All right. Let me see if I can do any better. We are still currently in phase 2 of COVID-19, which is slated to end at the end of the month in June. The past couple of governor's reports or conference meetings, they've alluded to a 2.5. So, you know, with the numbers increasing, I do not see us moving out of phase 2. So really don't know what phase 2.5 may look like, but as soon as, you know, I know more details, I'll be I'll be sharing that with our businesses. Speaking of downtown businesses, we have a new business that is coming in called the Twisted Sugar. They have leased the Jonathan Taylor space that used to be Belmont Specialty Foods. I think this will be a great addition to downtown. It'll be kind of a fun, unique shop, specialty cookies and fun drinks. I think it'll be a destination for families, and so we're excited about that. Other business activity, we've had our Jacqueline High, some of our newer businesses that have recently opened. They seem to be doing really good. Primal Brewery is doing good. Magnolia and Vine seems to be doing pretty well. And so I'm excited that it looks like our businesses are doing pretty good. I'm communicating with our businesses right now. We have each year we do our annual statistics to the North Carolina Main Street program that then get forwarded up to the National Main Street Center. So we're collecting all of those statistics and data now. And they're due, in the middle of July to, to the North Carolina. And I think we're going to have some, even with COVID-19, I think we're still going to have some pretty impressive statistics. We've had a lot of new business open this past year. The last thing is a diversity initiative. A couple of weeks ago in our regional Main Street meeting, which was held virtually, they really talked about a diversity initiative that is being pushed hard from National Main Street Center. They are strongly encouraging all communities to really look at the makeup of their board and their committees to make sure that we try to have as much diversity as possible. They were even going so far as to trying to make this mandatory um, for communities to be certified. They got a lot of pushback from the state program programs saying that they don't feel like it should be mandatory because a lot of but strongly encouraged. And so and I think it's something that we should really be looking at as well. Diversity across the board, um, you know, race, age, everything. So I think that's all I have for my staff report, Madam Chair. If there's any questions.
Any questions for Phil? So, Phil, yeah, that's great. Thanks for that report. I'm excited about Twisted Sugar. I saw the photos online, and I think your update on the diversity initiative falls a lot with what we've already been discussing within our committees about being more intentional, making sure people are aware of, the committees, what we do, doing, just making sure that we're a lot more intentional to become more diverse. We can do better.
Yeah, and I forgot we did have another business opened up. Actually, I think last Monday was their grand opening. We have a new dog grooming salon opened up on where 38 Woodrow, where the salon used to be on the corner of Woodrow and Glenway. The three or four of the ladies that worked with Teresa and Brian at Happy Dog Cafe decided to open their own business, and so they did.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And that's still in our district, is it not? Even though
Yeah,
it's,
yes. Yeah, no, that's in our district.
that's great. So we'll, if you want to send that information along, we can get them on the kiosk to make sure they're represented.
Yes.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you very much, Phil. If we want to move along, if there are any other questions, if there are no other questions, we'll move along to the design committee. Emily?
Yes, good morning, everyone. My brain is still waking up too, so let me try to get through this. New facade enhancement grant. So we did receive one in the past month from a new business, KBN Interiors. They are moving into the 331 East Catawba Street building. It's the one that currently has DAC embroidery in it down in the River District. We did give them some feedback. There were a couple items missing and we did want clarification on a few things, but hopefully we will be getting their response and we'll be presenting to you next month.
Yeah, Emily, they actually called me yesterday that they were trying to get that final quote for the painter, and that they would just wait and submit that in a week or two and go through the cycle again. So the design committee will review that at their next meeting in July.
Sounds great. Thank you, Phil. The AARP grant, I just wanted to correct myself. Last month, I told you guys a wrong date of when we would be notified if we would receive the grant. And the grant was, just as a reminder, to put up a community art board over the current Caravan Coffee painting on the side of the Everyday Market building. So we're actually going to be notified the week of July 6th if we were awarded that grant or not. So I may have some good news next month to share with you. I'll cross our fingers and hope, because it would be a really cool project. The next item, Gaston Community Foundation Grant. This is something that we have discussed within the design committee. We have not finalized or come up with a final plan on if we wanted to submit anything here. I think it's a great grant and just wanted to educate if you guys haven't seen it yet. It seems to be pretty widely used by many different organizations in Gaston County. They've awarded last year, I think, $2,000 up to $40,000 depending on the project. But what they focus on with the project, the guidelines are pretty broad from what I can tell. They focus on projects with positive results for citizens of the county or a community in the county. And they give great consideration to grassroots community support and utilizing resources within the community and the organization. So I didn't know if we weren't able to come up with an idea and someone else on our board here in another committee had an idea that they could take for that grant. I just wanted to inform you guys it's out there. And I'm happy to share the link, or Angela, if you want to share the link so people can read about it. And Angela, did you want to add anything on that, just from your perspective?
I think you covered it well. I know that we have actually secured one of those grants before. I think it was one of those grants, and Phil, correct me if I'm wrong, or Shelly, that we received in order to put the lights on top of the buildings in downtown. So it doesn't necessarily have to be something that's art related or design related. It can be for other kind of projects. There are all kinds of things that we're doing now that we weren't doing before. There may be different needs. So I would just encourage everyone to sort of think about it. And if something comes to mind, then, let us know and I will share that around. Thanks, Emily.
Yeah.
Emily, it's Mark.
Yeah.
If you would share that with me, our AV committee, we also like to list grants and things as well, and maybe we can do some crossover work regarding those grants. If you would share the AARP grant link and the Gas Community Foundation link, I'll share that with our committee.
Okay. And the AARP link, that has already passed the deadline for application, so I will definitely send you the Gaston Community Foundation. That deadline is July 16th, so we still have time to submit.
Well, we'd like to include grants in our work plan that are available.
Yep, that'd be great.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Moving on, box art wraps. So we finally were able to get everything we needed and that was requested to respond back to the DOT. So we did send that on, and we are now awaiting their response to us. So hopefully, again, we'll have some good news next month. And thank you, Phil, for all the work you did here. Dog park. If you attended the June City Council meeting, you may have seen that it was presented as a potential capital improvement project for 2021, which was wonderful to hear and see, because it's something that, the design committee has been, came up with the idea and has been engaging with the city and Parks and Rec to help Belmont get a dog park. So we were really excited to see that. And our next step is setting up a meeting with Adrian, David, Chuck, and Phil. I think you were going to help us coordinate that so that we can begin moving forward again. We do have enough money to come up with a design plan. We just need to find out a few things before we engage with that particular step, clarify a few things. So that's exciting to hear, and we should have some good news, I hope, again next month regarding this project. The history walk, now that we're in phase 2 and we were able to, you know, come up with additional ideas. Ron Folk, I think, had this one of setting up an interview with Humpy Wheeler. Those of you that may not know him, he grew up in East Belmont and he actually owns the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So we would love to add his take of the history of Belmont into our history walk and kiosk. So that should be coming in the future. And Angela, I know you're heavily involved with this history walk. Is there any other updates other than the Humpy Wheeler you'd like to share?
There's nothing certain at this point, but I do think that Ron feels like that people might be willing to have some movement on that. I'm still trying to assess, because a lot of the people that we would be interviewing are older and would be in a high risk category. I'm still trying to assess the safest way to do that. We might just try some where we do it outside and hope, just cross our fingers for audio quality. You know, I think we'll work something out. So we're trying to move forward with it and just be as smart as we can about it.
Thank you. And that's all I have for today. Any questions?
Questions for Emily? Thank you, Emily. You guys are rocking and rolling. Love it. Yes.
Well, I did want to update the board. If you've walked downtown, you may have noticed the Stowe Park kiosk is off. That's because of the construction going on with the pavilion and in the park. So that's the purpose of it being off. And that's all.
Great. Does anyone on have any updates on when that power might come back on?
Angela, this is Adrian. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
I met with the project coordinator earlier in the week, and they're supposed to get their final inspection from Gaston County this week, and they can reconnect the power, which will have power for the lights of the pavilion as well as the kiosk. So hopefully next week we'll get that wrapped up. There's a few minor things. We need to stain the roof of the interior roof of the pavilion, but the pavilion itself is finished. The new sidewalks or the replacement sidewalks in the park have been poured as we backfilled with some dirt and grass planted. So it looks really nice, but we're hoping by the end of the month, everything will be ready. Our goal is to let people enjoy the park for the 4th of July.
Perfect.
That's so
Excellent.
awesome.
Thank you, Adrian.
It looks beautiful. It looks great. I'm so excited and so happy and I know everybody will be when they emerge from their houses and see it all in a nice little glory.
I appreciate Mark and Jim letting us spend our money on this.
What we're here for.
You're welcome.
Oh, awesome. Great.
Yeah, I walked around it the other day and it looked really nice. I mean, I know it's not finished, but yeah, but nice job.
And it really just does present like a whole new world of possibilities for things we can do in the park and how the citizens can enjoy it. Yeah, thank you.
Angela, you're absolutely right. We're getting ready to hold auditions for Barnum, a musical theater performance, if anyone wants to participate. And so we're looking at actually holding that performance down in Stowe Park, September the 11th and 12th. So I think that'll be a new addition to our events in downtown and Stowe Park, which will be, I think, liked by many people. So that's going to be good.
Excellent. Phil, is that adults only or children?
No,
Do they need children too?
it's children of all ages.
That can
And we're
try out?
Yes, we're partnering with
Okay.
Red Star Theater Company. Yeah, and we just a day or two ago started putting some social media information out on those auditions.
Excellent, thank you.
What are the additions again, please?
What'd you say, Sister Nancy?
When are those additions being held again? The dates?
I think next week, I believe, is when they're going to start holding auditions.
Okay. Thanks. Somebody was asking me.
Okay, yeah, it's on our Facebook page.
Okay.
Just to pop in, those are gonna be June 22nd and 23rd from 7 to 10. And then callback date is June 27th from 1:30 to 3:30. And actually, the information the director sent, the age range is 16 and up.
Great. That sounds like fun. The circus is coming to town, folks. Love it. Any other questions for about Barnum or the park? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Emily. Thanks, Adrian, Cassidy, Bill. Moving on now to our economic vitality. Mark Fisher, you're up.
Okay. We updated our work plan, and I sent that out, I think, to all of you, just to look at that. I don't remember if it was the North Carolina or the National that did a COVID section on their work plan, but we decided as a committee that we wanted to include a piece to our work plan as well. And thanks to some help from Angela and Jennifer Church, we were able to figure out how to do that. And so that's the plan I sent to you shows how we've added the COVID piece to our work plan. We also wanted to give some input to the city website, and we've done that. I think I shared that with Cassidy and Phil maybe yesterday. We just had some ideas that we wanted to be included in the new website, and we wanted to do that pretty quickly because we knew that I think that's kind of a work in progress right now. And, we just felt like there were some things that might make it a little bit more user-friendly and some items that we wanted to include in the website. We got on board in our last meeting and supporting diversity, and we just kind of wanted to go on record, and we've had some diversity in our committee. We've had 2 Afro-Americans on our committee, and one of them moved away, but we wanted to even try to recruit some folks, younger folks, just whatever we could do with diversity. And we, like I said, we kind of wanted to go on record with that. And also, I know we've got, 2 or 3 minority businesses in Belmont, and we wanted to figure out ways that maybe we could support them in the future. And so this is, we've just had one discussion on this, and we really haven't made any progress, but it's on our to-do list. And so that's what that was all about. Any questions?
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Your committee's doing great things. I appreciate how nimble you've been to react to COVID and changing your work plan, and very proactive.
Well, we've got a great committee.
You have every single person shows up at your meetings. It's incredible.
We're not a large committee, but the folks that are on there are really good.
Yeah, very devoted. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if we can move on then, if there are no questions, we'll move on to the promotions committee. Sister Nancy?
Okay, so we met last week, and one of our topics was the Alfresco dining and volunteers, and Cassidy's been really good and Phil about securing volunteers for our Alfresco dining, and seems to be going well. I want to publicly apologize that I cannot participate because, well, I live in a long-term congregate living situation, and I'm not allowed out much. So, but anyway, thanks to all the people who are volunteering and making it such a success. I'm going to ask Liz if she would give the most recent relief concert update.
Thanks, Sister Nancy, and good morning, everybody. Our committee has been diligently meeting every 2 weeks. I think we've had at least 3, if not 4 meetings. Our latest meeting was yesterday. And for those who are not participating on that project, we've got subcommittees in this major committee. We have budget, operations, licensing, logistics and setup, entertainment, marketing, and volunteers, and a chair of each of those committees. And we get together to talk about this enormous undertaking, but exciting undertaking. And where we are right now is each of the subcommittees has been thinking about their area and the things, the logistics that fall under their particular headings. But we are kind of in a holding pattern simply because most of what we're going to put into place hinges on choosing a date and determining the bands and the talent that will be coming in. Now, Phil is working on this, I think probably on an ongoing basis with MK Holinek and Kevin Jonas. And so when we get that information and I think much of the problem here has simply been communicating with these bands. Los Angeles and New York are the 2 areas that Kevin is working with. And of course, those are areas that are hard hit. So things are slow in that direction. And I'm going to let Phil talk a little bit about that. But for the most part, everybody is working. We're all thinking about issues, potential problems, potential upsides to all of this, and we'll continue to do so.
Yeah, so MK and Kevin, we have side meetings, and I'm getting a large echo. Is someone, y'all hearing that as well? Okay. So we had our last conversation this past Friday. And so Kevin said that things are slowly starting to open up in New York and in LA, where his sons live, where some of the talent that he oversees and some of the friends, some of the legends, as he calls it, live. We have not pinpointed an October date. But hopefully Kevin says in the coming weeks, we might be able to nail down a date, as things start opening up. But we had a conversation about even potentially looking at November. But then if not, then it would be early spring of 21. So we're getting there. We're taking baby steps in getting this planned.
Okay, one other thing that Liz and I did talk about is we probably need to start, or at least have a meeting with the downtown Main Street businesses to get their buy-in, because unless they know about it and can plan for it, I think one of the ways that we will be successful is to make sure that they are included in the planning and from the get-go and not, here's what we're doing. And so anyway, we need to plan, I think, a stakeholders meeting in the near future to bring a lot of this information to them.
And Sister Nancy, one thing that we talked about yesterday at the meeting was exactly this, and everyone on the relief committee, our relief concert committee felt that this was absolutely necessary, but a suggestion was made that we should wait a little bit until we have a few more hard details, because perhaps getting them on board with, this kind of amorphous concept at this point might not be beneficial. And so it's definitely on the radar screen, but I think we'll wait a little bit, and then as soon as we've got some good details, then we'll really roll with that.
Okay, thanks, Liz. July 4th, we have been talking about a virtual concert and different ideas for our July 4th event. But there will be no concert at this time. And also, but we will have the Alfresco dining and fireworks. So there'll still be something fun going on in downtown. It just won't be a concert this year. The fall Thursday night concerts are currently being scheduled. And I saw, and Cassidy actually had a diagram. I don't know if you have that with you, Cassidy, or not. But the chalking off areas in the park to maintain social distancing. And a friend of mine who lives in another area, she said when she and her family were going to a concert, they stopped by registration and picked up a number, and their number coordinated with the chopped off areas. So they were cordoned off. Bill had a great idea of renting the space too to make up for a little money. So I think that's got some potential, but I think chalking off the areas to make sure that people are maintaining. Oh, there it is. Thanks, Cassidy. I just think that's a really cool idea to make sure that we are keeping distances and yet having a lot of fun outdoors too. So that's in process. Any questions on that? Okay. Some ideas that we talked about was some other ideas to possibly raise some funds for the DBDA. Was having an open mic night at Stowe Park Amphitheater, possibly a cooking show. We are getting donations through the sale of the t-shirts, and maybe movies in the park where we purchase at cost from different businesses and create either adult or family packs for movies in the park, and they purchase from us. They order them. So logistically, it may be a nightmare. I don't know, but those were some ideas that we did have. We did talk about having greater diversity on all of our committees and in our activities, and we wanted to evaluate avenues, different ways to maybe invite people to be a part of either our committees, and or if there were a board vacancy, how we can bring diversity to our committee. And we also looked at or talked about the types of activities that we are having, and is there a way to be more diverse in what we're offering and in what we do. And the last thing was ad placements on the kiosk. We're looking into what is the interest level under the way it is now. And I'm going to be checking with Image 360, and I forget who was going to touch base with Michael Applegate to see what possible costs might be associated with that and how much would we realistically charge. And I do know that Cherubs and Bliss and Cotton Candy Factory are very interested, would love to be the guinea pigs for it once we open back up. So just be thinking about people that you think might be interested in ads that we could approach and start this project. And that's my report. Thank you.
Any questions for Sister Nancy in promotions? Thank you, Sister Nancy. And I will, I'm going to update as far as the ads for the kiosk. I have a sort of a website, an unpublished website link that I'm going to update now that we have To Do and See on board, and send that to you so that you have some visuals if you wanted to use that when talking to the folks at 360. And I can talk to Michael Applegate. I can take that so that we can make sure that we are assessing the environment and what would be helpful, you know, not too much, but still fulfill our promise to, you know, get a little bit of revenue in so that we can make sure more than anything that our kiosk can be maintained in the future, so that it's, you know, so that we're doing what we said. And now that both kiosks are up, To Do and See is up, and hopefully after next week we'll have the power up, we'll, you know, be in a position to offer that. So thank you so much, and thank you for all that your committee is doing. That's certainly a lot of balls in the fires. What is that? Yeah, balls in the fire. So if there are no more questions for promotions, we can move on to the organization committee. Seth? Seth, are you, you might still be on mute.
I am. Fixed it. Yeah, so we met last week. It was a little bit of a smaller meeting, but we had some great conversation. One of the things we talked about, it sounds like, you know, kind of echoing what everybody else has said, about diversity and inclusion in our committees, and especially with the organizational committee, you know, being the committee that kind of tells the story and making sure all businesses in our districts have a voice, and making sure everybody has, you know, a seat at the table, how we are going to be more intentional going forward, to making sure that everyone has a voice and representation in that. Some other things that we talked about was, it was brought up by Angela to create a subcommittee for grant searching, for just everyone. And so that was received positively, that we could be able to move forward, in creating a subcommittee just for grant searching. We haven't decided who would serve on that committee, on that subcommittee or anything, but it was received positively. And then something else that was brought to us was, there's a thought and an idea of rezoning, in the future, adding in Myrtle Street up to the middle school, as part of Main Street. And that it was discussed that that would be a good, like our committee would be a good place to kind of house that initiative. And that was also again received very positively. We didn't vote formally because we didn't know if that needed a vote, but that was something that could be housed under our committee. Does that make sense? And we and just not having a lot of details to explain, but that was kind of an initiative read on, unless Phil or Adrian or anybody wants to speak further to that.
Yeah, I'll chime in.
Because I didn't want to give any information that I shouldn't at this point.
Yeah, I think it'll be good for the board to vote whether or not to look into expanding the boundary districts. We have some activity, some development going on I don't know if Shelly wants to speak to that or not, which will be some mixed use development, which would include some commercial, hopefully retail. And so I think it would be good for us to really look at expanding the boundaries at this time?
Yes. Yeah, it was very well received in our committee meeting. We just didn't call for an official vote. Again, we were kind of thin last week, so we didn't know if it was necessarily a quorum or appropriate, but it was very well received. Very well received to do. We also just didn't. We're going to assess out again what that will involve and entail, and as we move forward. But it was very positive.
Seth, this is Adrian. If you're looking at expanding the boundary, I would ask that you also look at the current Belmont Middle School property, because this upcoming school year will be the last year that building is occupied with students, and then it will be a tremendous addition to our downtown if done correctly.
Yeah, well, so that's the bigger thing, and that's the bigger point to this. Is my understanding is that once it becomes, if it's voted and the initiative goes through, that it would become part of Main Street Board in the coming time, that the conversation with the school board happens, that because it would be within our Main Street district, that we would have a vested interest and have a kind of a seat at the table to kind of be in discussion of the of that building. And so it's kind of strategic in a few ways, but it would be very exciting. This also would, again, everything goes through. I think there's like a dentist office, there's creative travel. So there are some businesses up and down there that would be more formally included into zone and who we serve, the businesses that we serve in our community. So,
Yeah, Adrian, you're exactly right. That was another thought behind the conversation, was to include the middle school for that future, use.
Yeah, I'm starting to have some conversations again with the county about that, and I'd certainly like this board's help. And if the county lets us have input, then I certainly want y'all there with me.
oh yeah, absolutely. And so that was like, again, part of the conversation of being able to take on that initiative as of rezoning and housing that initiative under our committee. So.
Excellent.
So Angela, do you want to, do you feel like we need to get a vote, or to make sure that this is supported by the full board, to start looking? And what I'd like to do is for the organization committee to have a video call with North Carolina Main Street representative, maybe Sherry, to help coach us or guide us through the process of expanding the boundaries. But I just want to make sure that this is something that the full board is supportive of. And Shelly sent me, is Shelly back on yet? She had a power outage and was trying to log back on, so we temporarily lost Shelly.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Angela, you're muted.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did we lose Angela?
Here I am. I need a second cup of coffee, apparently. So, yeah, Shelly, I don't know how much you heard while we were off, but we were talking about the potential of expanding the Main Street district to include Myrtle Street up to the middle school. And I think that Phyllis is suggesting that the board vote to see if we're in support of looking at that and having a conversation with the Main Street district, the Main Street, state Main Street, leaders to determine how best to move forward with that. Is there anything you want to add to that conversation about the developments that are happening or that on your side?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea, especially with the middle school moving and the opportunity for redeveloping the middle school and bringing it more into the city or Main Street area. We've done one amendment in the past where we added a property over on North Main Street, just expanded it a little bit, but no, I'd be in full support of that.
Okay, great. Is there anyone else who would like to, at this point, before we put a motion out, would like to further this conversation, any other aspects as it relates to the Main Street District? Okay, so well, at this point, I guess, and everybody chime in if I haven't included everything, but if we can have a, see if there would be someone who would maybe, is there a motion to, our organization committee look at the expanding the boundaries of our Main Street district? And so this would be a motion just to basically, committee do the work, and then they would be coming back to us to approve what the district looks like, correct? So,
Correct.
Yeah, this is Shelly. I'd be happy to make the motion to explore expansion of the Main Street District.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you so much. Any other questions then for the organization committee and for Seth?
No, my last thing, and I might need Phil's help, just PPE Part 2. We don't have a current date set on what that'll look like. But it is kind of in to do a second round upon such time that we do that. We'll again need volunteers to help pack and deliver and photo ops and all that stuff. So, as soon as we have any more information on that, I'll send that out to everyone if they would like to volunteer.
Thank you. Sorry to cut you short.
You're completely fine.
And I would like to add in there as well. I'm going to be sending an email out to all the executive board to try to get on your schedules sometime after June 22nd to discuss what the second round of relief could look like a little bit further. Now that some time has passed, we may want to just take another look at what we were planning to do. Maybe, just want to check in and make sure we still want to move forward and entertain maybe even some other ideas. But I think it might be wise for us to to wait until after we hear from the governor and understand what the circumstances will be for the coming month. So we'll be on the lookout for my email. All right. Well, thank you, Seth, and for getting your committee up and going. I know you've been doing a great job with that. And if there were no other questions from Seth, I don't have much of a chair report for this meeting, so we could move on to see if there was any other new business that anyone would like to discuss or add. All right. So looks like we're good then do we have any motion to adjourn? I'm sorry.
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Thank you. Was that you, Jim? That second?
Seth.
Seth. Hey, thank you, Seth, for seconding. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you, everybody. So this meeting of the Main Street Advisory Board is adjourned.
Angela, is it still okay if you and Emily and Phil and Cassidy and I stay on to talk about facade enhancement?
Yes.
Yeah, we can do that after the DBDA.
We have the DBDA.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right.
That's okay.
I said, wow, this is so fast.
Yeah. I think, but yes, that is still the plan. So Cassidy, you want to let me know when you've switched it over?
You are good to go.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll call to order the Downtown Belmont Development Association meeting this June 18th, 2020. And Shelly, we have a secretary report.
Yes, there are draft minutes in the packet from May 21st, 2020 to be adopted.
Right, do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
I move we accept the minutes.
Thank you, Sister Nancy. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Great, so those are accepted. And we can move on now to our staff report. Phil, do you have a staff report for the DBDA? Phil, you're still on mute.
Hi. No, I was saying I don't really have too much as a staff report. As far as the DBDA, everything has kind of been, revolving around the PPEs. I've been communicating with businesses. They are extremely happy, with the supplies that they've gotten. And I've kept asking them, is this enough? Do y'all need more? Is there something else that you didn't get that you could use? Haven't really heard any feedback. But I will continuously ask them what their needs are so that we can make sure that we try to meet those needs in our second round of PPE distribution. And I think anything else could be covered in the DBDA budget, because I think we're doing pretty good with our T-shirt sales and our donations.
Bill,
Yes.
I know there's a lot of rumblings right now, and Boone has already done this, but we are possibly looking at mandatory face masks. So that might be something that we may need to work with the businesses that if, should someone come in without one, that they have one available for them. Because the numbers are getting a lot higher, and there's a group that is resisting wearing masks. So that's definitely, I think the governor will probably speak to that. Charlotte was already talking about it. Read that in the Observer this morning. So that's something we may need to think about, that the businesses may need help with.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Sister Nancy, for that update, and for Phil, for your staff report. We can have some conversations about that further, I think, Sister Nancy, because, if that is something that we want to move, that is moving forward, I think it would be helpful for us to maybe do some positive promotion for the benefit of that. Make it a good thing, a positive thing, just in a way that it's marketed and presented to the public.
And I may go ahead and start that communication with the businesses to make sure that they would actually enforce that. Because we've actually had some business owners who are not making it mandatory for their staff to wear masks in restaurants, which I think is not good. So, but I think, that would be a good point to go ahead and start having those conversations with restaurants if it gets to that point. Because if that's the case, then we probably want to look at go ahead and start purchasing a lot more masks.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, good thoughts. Good conversation. So I guess at this point, if there are any other questions for Phil in regards to his staff report. So if there are no other questions, we'll move on to Mark Fisher and our treasurer's report for the DBDA.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to apologize. I failed to get up with Phil. Normally we get together and he gives me some good talking points and things like that. But I thought about it last night, Phil, about 10 o'clock. So anyway, thank you for the text message. But if you've got that document in front of you, we'll just look at it. Our current checkbook balance is $29,866.25. The outstanding deposits there, $7,444.53. These are PayPal donations and T-shirt donations. And we're also waiting on our bank, the BB&T merged, and we're waiting on them to reopen to gain some access um, to our account. We haven't been able to do that. But if you look at those allocated project funding, I look back on last month's, and there have been some significant changes there. For example, the Keep the Lights On donations, that was $1,621 and some odd cents last month, and it's $6,936.75. Our DBDA donations last month were somewhere around $40, and that's $283.21. And our merchandise is up to $2,187.67. The Friday Night Live relief concert was $4,000, and it's $4,500 now. The St. Patrick's Day Lodge and Station was $1,350, and it's $850 now. So that's a total $31,837. Last month it was $22,711. So our available revenue went up from $1,427 to $5,473.55. Phil, remember last time we talked about how Phil had done a real good job with a spreadsheet so that it makes it easier to keep up with our breakout funding. You've got that information. I won't go over all that, but you've got that information on the next couple of pages. Phil, I didn't botch that too bad. Do you have anything you want to add to it?
Am I on mute?
No, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, no, I tried, I shared my screen. I don't know if it's shared or not.
It is, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, Mark talked about the increase of numbers for, our available revenue because we were carrying a deficit in some of the allocated funding, like the T-shirts, et cetera. And so what I failed to do last month was put our outstanding deposits from PayPal in. And so once we put those in, that changed our numbers, for the better. And so we've done good with our donations for our T-shirts, like Mark said, and we've actually had some really nice just donations. We've actually had some additional donations this past Saturday at Alfresco Dining, upwards of $500 that's not included in this report. So even though we don't have our Friday Night Live making lots of money, I think we're doing fairly well right now where we're at.
I'll say, I think this is great, and I think it's wonderful. Thank you, Mark. Any questions for Mark or for Phil in regards to the financial report? Okay, thank you so much. And just to take a moment, thank you all for those of you that are volunteering and sitting at the table and keeping the message out there, helping the organization gain some funding so that we can continue the good work that we're doing. So thank you all. So moving on to our committee reports, I'll just give an opportunity quickly for anybody who has anything specifically to say for the DBDA. We don't have anything on our agenda. But just to go through quickly, Emily, did you have anything further for DBDA for the design committee?
I do not.
Okay, thank you. And Mark, anything more for economic vitality?
No, I'm good.
Okay, and promotions committee, Sister Nancy, did you have anything else to cover specific for DBDA?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Organization committee, anything for you?
Um, Not really. The only thing I was gonna mention that I might not have mentioned at the Main Street is, in the Main Street meeting, is that our committee is willing to partner and work with this. I know there's a sponsorship subcommittee for the relief concert. And it was expressed in our meeting that if, you know, to offer support to that subcommittee if need be, moving forward. But that was the only thing that I think I forgot to mention.
That's a really good point. That's a very good point, Seth. I'm glad you brought it up. So, Sister Nancy, you know, if you could keep Seth apprised of the things that are going on with that and Liz with that subcommittee. We want to make sure because Seth is working towards sponsorships for this organization, and I think it would be good once we, you know, to make sure that we're working in coordination with that, especially as we're approaching people.
And Angela, can I chime in real quick? So one thing I did forget to mention, Monday in when I was communicating with some of the businesses, I was talking with Bill Champion and State Farm. And he let me know that State Farm they have a philanthropic, grant, giving that they do every year. So he sent me the information and so I will be sending that out, um, to our committee chairs today to look at. It's a potential $25,000 grant that we can write, for a community, project of some sort. And so I will be sending that out to everyone today.
That's great.
Okay.
Exciting. And again, there, you know, just open your mind to what the possibilities are because all these grants don't necessarily have to be an art project. Although we want more art projects, and I'd be happy to have one of those submitted. Anything that your organization, when you're sitting in your committee and you go, wow, wouldn't we be able to do so much for our community if we had XYZ? Or if we could do XYZ or the funding to do XYZ. You know, try to remember those things because there's a grant for just about everything if you look hard enough. And so thank you, Phil. We'll look forward to receiving that.
Hey, Angela. It's
Yes,
Mark. Um, Also, that was one of the things that our committee wants to see more of on our website. If we can have, listings of these grants for, businesses to see. I mean, I know Phil's communicating really well with businesses anyway, but it would just be nice to have these things listed. So if some business is going through the website, they could say, I might apply for that.
Yeah, Mark, you're right. Cassidy and I had talked about having a resource page, and Cassidy is working with Jamie Campbell and with Seth Norkett in developing, the city's new website and what that looks like. And we are going to have a resource page,
Right.
on there with those resources.
Perfect. Thank you.
great minds. Thank you. So if there are no other questions for any of the committees, I'll just say for chair report, you know, just from speaking personally, thank you all for showing up every day for you know, for the time you give to these meetings at 7:30 in the morning every month on a Thursday, and for all the countless hours that you're working in these committees. And I can say personally, as I'm sitting here at home for months, so you are my joy to be able to speak to all of you and what you're doing and the positivity you're putting out in our community. You know, in a world where so many people are grieving, it's just really a wonderful thing that you're doing. You're making a positive difference, and I appreciate you. So that's what I wanted to say. And with that being said, is there any other new or old business to discuss?
Angela, I would, this is Shelly. I'd just like to share this with the board. All your hard work is being recognized statewide. I was invited to speak in a webinar about a week and a half ago or so about planning during the pandemic, and it was organized by the School of Government. And the webinar targeted city planners across the state. And I was specifically asked to speak about the Alfresco dining. And so it gave me an opportunity to not only share about the dining, but really share the initiative. And I showed all the hard work that you've done, the website for keeping the lights on in Belmont, and all the little things that contributed to this larger umbrella of keeping the lights on in Belmont, and it was well received. So I just wanted to share that with the team.
Thank you, Shelly. Thank you. That's nice to hear that message is getting out there. Hopefully it's inspiring other communities too. So thank you. That means a lot. So if there was no other new business to discuss, we could, would anyone like to have a motion to adjourn this meeting of the Downtown Belmont Development Association?
So moved.
Thank you, Shelly. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I think that was an aye. All right, everybody. Listen, have a wonderful Thursday. We will look forward to seeing all your faces in these upcoming meetings. And the executive board, look for an email from me. And everybody, thank you. So have a good day, and we'll see you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye. And we'll just stay on, I guess, our, we were going to stay on, I think some of us were going to stay on to have some other further conversation.
For those of you staying on, make sure this meeting is not being recorded still if you're going to say stuff.